Why Eze to Tottenham could be the transfer of the window in the Premier League. This is the most audacious, exciting transfer I've seen at Tottenham for many, many years. And their window's been strong already with Kudus and Paulinho coming in. We're going to break down how Eze fits in at Tottenham, take a look at his time at Crystal Palace, and of course, a bit of an analysis where he could have joined this summer another club in London, usually dressed out in red, in North London as well. We'll break that down. How does this affect Arsenal Football Club? Make sure you subscribe and leave your comments down below. Any initial thoughts about Eze joining Tottenham Hotspur? It's so exciting. It really, really is. He leaves Crystal Palace, their greatest ever footballer. I'm sure someone like Ian Wright is close, maybe someone like Pardew, someone like Zaha, Elise, maybe Kevin Phillips for scoring that playoff final goal many, many years ago. Ultimately, he's their greatest ever player, scoring a winning goal in an FA Cup final against a Pep Guardiola side. It's outstanding. So Tottenham have to look at that history and look how Eze, not only in the FA Cup final, but all the games basically leading up to it, even the very early rounds. I remember he was influential in very, very early games for Crystal Palace last season, games where maybe a superstar like Eze wouldn't be interested. He gripped that FA Cup campaign single-handedly and guided his team through to the FA Cup final and scored the winning goal. It's one of the most heroic displays I've ever seen in the FA Cup, and also because it's Crystal Palace winning their first ever trophy. Eze was a fundamental part of that. Without Eze, Palace have got 0 trophies as we speak. Now they've got 2, and they're playing in Europe for the first time. That's all down to Eze. So Spurs are signing that kind of caliber footballer. Yes, he's not coming out of Real Madrid. He's not coming out of Bayern Munich. But it's the next best thing. I think he's on the borderline of being a world-class footballer. Not right now. I want to see him against an AC Milan. I want to see him against a Napoli in the Champions League, or I want to see him against a big side in the Champions League. But I think he can do it. He's got pace. He's two-footed. He can score from any kind of angle. Ultimately, he's arriving at Tottenham Hotspur with 14 goals, 11 assists last season. 40 goals, 28 assists, and 169 when he came ultimately from QPR, very, very young, out of the Championship. How well have Crystal Palace done with those kind of signings coming out of second division football? Adam Wharton, think about Michael Elise from Reading as well. It's an outstanding position, but we have to look back at the goals. 14 goals last season from midfield for Crystal Palace, who started off the season really, really slow. And ultimately, he had to do a lot of the work himself because Crystal Palace didn't have Michael Elise. Obviously, he went to Bayern Munich. And he just built into that season. He got better and better and better. 14 goals for Palace. That's outstanding. So he's arriving at Tottenham Hotspur in the best form of his career. And then let's just say the last game that he played. He should have beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. That would have been his parting gift to Crystal Palace on some level. Also a Community Shield very, very recently as well, getting them into European football. But that free kick, I think, was completely unfairly ruled out from Crystal Palace perspective, and that was Eze as well. It was a brilliant free kick, completely ruled out for punitive, grim reasons from the FA Cup, from the PGMOL. So let's be completely real. Spurs are signing a player right at the top of his game, 27 years old, and the package as well, £60 million for a player of that quality is unheard of. Declan Rice went from West Ham to Arsenal for £100 million. Similar caliber footballer, different positions, but similar caliber footballer. He helped West Ham win a trophy, of course, as well. And he's going to Tottenham. And you feel this is the kind of deal that any big club could have made. He could have joined Man City. He could have joined Arsenal, of course, Liverpool, and Tottenham, who finished so close to the relegation zone last season, are getting a player of the highest caliber to help them in the Champions League. Let's just talk about that, because the Champions League, look, Tottenham aren't going to look to win that, but if they can put in some strong performances, compete, it puts them in a really strong position in the next couple of years, particularly if they want to re-qualify for the Champions League, particularly if they want to build around Thomas Frank and give him that longevity maybe he had at Brentford. Eze is a big part of that, of course. I want to talk about Arsenal because they've just poached someone from Arsenal. Now, Arsenal's links weren't heavy, and I'll discuss that at the end of the video, because I think Arsenal should have been in the running a lot more than they were. They should have been aggressive in the bidding. If you can bid big money for the likes of Madueke, I think they could have gone in 75, 80 million for Eze, and it wouldn't have been an issue. No one would have batted an eyelid at it. Let's be completely real. But ultimately, whatever we say, Arsenal fans thought he was an Arsenal player. Eze's an Arsenal fan. So for Tottenham to get someone of this caliber away from Arsenal is a big move from them, from their perspective as well. I couldn't think of any real big talents that Spurs have signed in their prime that Arsenal could have signed in the same window. It doesn't really come to mind. You see some weird links. Maybe Fabregas could have joined Spurs when he was a kid. It's not the same. This is massive for Tottenham in that regard as well. From a PR perspective, it's brilliant. And then you're seeing a player that wants to be in the World Cup squad. Jack Grealish has fallen off. He's at Everton. He's not playing Champions League football. We don't know about maybe Gordon. We don't know about the maybe midfield situation with Tommy Tuchel. We don't know what he wants to play in that midfield in a World Cup. If Eze has a banging season, he'll be looking to start alongside Jude Bellingham, alongside Declan Rice, and it will be very, very juicy. So Spurs have got that incentivization of a player that wants to desperately play for England and perform for England, and he already has done. In a similar way, we see Richarlison ahead of a World Cup year for Brazil. These Brazilian guys will be on a different planet for the next 12 months, potentially speaking. I think Eze could be similar as well. Kudus has come through the door, Paulinho. Whatever you say about Spurs, maybe they're not quite Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, but they're very, very close and they're exciting. Kudus, Eze. I'm a big fan of... I do like Richarlison, actually. I'm a big, big fan of Richarlison. Brennan Johnson's having a great season, or last couple of seasons. They're an exciting, mobile, young squad. I like the back line. They still need to address the keeper, but Thomas Frank's making some big additions, and Paulinho as well. Didn't quite work out for him in German football for for obvious reasons. Wasn't starting a load of games, but he's a big footballer for Tottenham as well. James Maddison situation is interesting because obviously James Maddison coming back. He'll be back probably next season. But Maddison and Eze is exciting. Let's be completely real. Linked to Morgan Gibbs-White, Marinakis has come in and denied the transfer. I think Spurs have won because I'd rather have Eze than Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, they're both fantastic footballers. Gibbs-White maybe a little bit more of a central playmaker versus Eze maybe more of a number 10. Ultimately, Eze is a better footballer than Morgan Gibbs-White, and you're getting him for a similar kind of price. I'd rather have Eze in this side than Morgan Gibbs-White, 100%. Particularly when Archie Gray played against Burnley in midfield as well. Hasn't really played in midfield for Tottenham much last season. So he's a kind of player that Gibbs-White could have maybe been taking his spot in that side as well. It's very, very exciting. It's very, very fresh. We have to spare a moment for Arsenal Football Club. I can't believe they haven't gone in for him. I can't believe they signed Madueke, another kind of tricky winger that they've tried. It's a bit like Sterling. It's a bit like maybe similar-ish to kind of Martinelli, kind of a tricky winger. No real creative flair coming in on the inside. Eze on the left for Arsenal is almost the final piece of the jigsaw. Still would have been a tough competition for Arsenal to win the Premier League with City, with Liverpool. But Eze, Arsenal fan, wants to go there from all accounts. How's he not in an Arsenal shirt? I think it shows a lack of ambition from Arsenal Football Club, and it's mirrored in the fact that I think Spurs making this deal is very, very audacious, very, very exciting. It's a bit of a coup. I feel like Thomas Frank is actually pulled off a bit of a coup this window. Kudus, Eze, Paulinho. It might be the best window in the Premier League this season because it's a trim window. It's not like a load of money. We're talking 120 million quid for those three players. That's outstanding. It really, really is. Is it enough to get Tottenham into the top 4? No. Is it enough to get them 5th and comfortable and maybe even winning another cup this season? Absolutely. You're signing winning experience. There isn't much at Tottenham, really, outside of the Europa League win. It's a young squad. It's a side that's moving upward. It's got a lot of upward mobility, and Eze adds to that, and experience, and a winning mentality ahead of a World Cup year. It could be the transfer of the window. Leave your comments down below. Do you agree? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you very, very soon.